Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right, cool. So let's just know how you feel today being in this masterclass room. We have 3 minutes to do that. Please let's engage in the poll. Great, that's good to know. Feeling good, that's good to know. We have 2 more minutes. Please, for every other person in the call, let's partake in the poll. We are going to be doing few of these as we go in the journey from today till Friday. All right, so we just leave it for some people as they come in. All right, we have one person also typing. Cold but fine. It's our hope that you're truthfully fine. But trust me, by the time we finish today's class, you should actually be feeling very at average temperature. Welcome again, everyone. All right. Let's quickly dive into can we confirm if you can see my screen again, please?
I can see your screen.
Yes, I can.
All right, that's very good. So today, as we dive into the Excel Masterclass, I'm going to be taking you through the agenda of the day. One of the agenda on the list is introducing myself, introducing the course, introducing Microsoft Excel, which is the reason why we are here, some of the basic Excel functions, and also cell references. My name is Abiodun Oluwafermi. I'm a data scientist at IB Credit, United Kingdom. I work remotely. And this is my LinkedIn link if you want to check out my full profile. And if you want to look at some of the cool stuff I've been doing recently, you could also take a look at my GitHub as after today. So one of the first things that we need to first of all understand is that when we talk about data analytics generally, and when we talk about Excel generally, the most important thing is to know that what Excel does is the use and manipulation of data to get anything that we want out of it. One of the things I would like you to put in mind today is I will encourage you to please listen to me and not exactly be focusing on many text that is on the screen. Many text that is on the screen is kept as such as a reason for people who might not be here with us today. And then while they are going through the recording, they can also have an understanding as they read through. So I'm going to be talking and I would like us to have that engaging conversation as we go along. The same thing I'm going to be saying is also the same thing that is in the text. So don't be too focused on the text. So like I said again, data is the most important thing. That's what we use Excel for, is to be able to manipulate data and get, to get information out of the data based on whatever goal that we have for specific kind of data. So in what we have here, it says data is a collection of discrete or continuous values that convey information, just like I said, describing a quantity, quality, facts, statistics. It could go, different types of data. It could be anything within the data that you're trying to describe or you're trying to get out of it, And data is like the basics of all. Without data, there is practically nothing we can do. with Excel. And then data analysis in general is the process of obtaining raw data and subsequently converting it into information useful for decision making by users. So what this is basically telling us is that while we already get the data, what we are trying to do within the data is probably to analyze the data based on specific functions or specific need for the data. For example, we could have a data that probably is looking into people's salary. And what we are looking for in that data is to understand how salary is being paid, if salary is consistently paid, or even if at all there is any kind of anomalies within the salary data. In another form, we could be looking at the supply chain data. And in supply chain data, what we are looking for is to understand how we can make informed decisions to probably further how the supply chain can be more effective in terms of, say, if it's logistics based, we could be looking at a warehouse data in terms of how products goes out, how many warehouses are available for order shipping, all of that. So it means that for a specific data, there are different things we're looking for within the data. And depending on what we are looking for is going to determine the kind of analysis that we are going to be performing on the data. And as we have here, it says, is the process of obtaining raw data and subsequently converting it into information useful for decision making by users. Basically, that's what I have explained. Data analytics basically is the process of transforming raw data into meaningful, actionable insight that aid with decision making. It's just the same thing that I've said now, but the only difference between data analytics and data analysis is data analysis is a subsidiary under data analytics. Data analytics is like the umbrella for all the data work that you probably would think of doing, and then the analysis is one of the subsidiary, and we're also going to get into that particular point. So here it says the data analytic process involves the following: data gathering or collection. Data gathering or collection basically is like the number one step that we have to do when we are trying to get anything. Say, for example, we have a company, say Odemari Tech, who wants to engage data analytics professional about understanding how students, get interest and what interests students in the process of learning. And then we get data of all the students, that has the past students that have passed through Odemari Tech. That getting data is the first step, the data collection or the data gathering. The next step is the data cleaning. In most cases, actually, many a times, it's very rare for you to see data that is already cleaned, except someone had already worked on that data. But if you are the one who is starting with the data, you have to, in most cases, clean the data, which means that there are some nuances that you find within the data that is not exactly going to make data useful for you with what it is intended to do. For example, sometimes you might have, say, text data where you probably do not necessarily need the commas within it. Sometimes it might even be numerical data where you probably want to remove the comma so that you can be able to perform some calculations, whatever it is, depending on what it is that, that goal is, then you are likely going to have to clean the data. After the data cleaning, then goes into data analysis. Data analysis is where we manipulate, when we query, when we try to do a rigorous, research into the data using some, functions. Sometimes, sometimes even visualization can help, to be able to get informed decision, to be able to understand what is within the data, and then get what is going to be useful in the decision making out of the data. Then the next one is the data visualization. Data visualization, all of these things, you're still going to touch them again. Data visualization is basically, visualizing data, as it says, in terms of graphs, pie chart, bar chart, chart, and different types of charts, basically, to present it to stakeholders, sometimes audiences who do not necessarily understand the nitty-gritty of the jargons and the terms that are within the data world that a professional understands. So what I'm saying in simple form is to present data to audience in simple form, imagery form, that can help them understand the findings that has been, gotten within the data in a much more easy way. So what you have been mentioned, I think I already mentioned this, how data analysis is like a subsidiary of data analytics. So we can just go forward. Now, like I said earlier, data gathering or collection, I've mentioned it. So basically, it's just gathering data or collecting data from different sources. It could be, for example, from a spreadsheet as an Excel. It could be a CSV file. It could be in form of PDF format. It could be in form of text. You might want to like scrape the data from a website, or maybe the company already has a database where they put data that you can just fetch the data, or even connects to an API where you can actually, gets the data that is going to be useful for the purpose of the analysis that is intended to be done. So like I said earlier, data gathering is the first step of the data analytics. Process as done analysis can be done if there is no data. It's not possible. There is nothing we are doing if there is no data. That's like the basic form of data analytics. And even anything relating to data science, data analytics, data even going to even AI and LLM, all those advanced things now that data is used for. There is nothing that you can do without having data basically present. So that's the first thing that we always have to get. The data cleaning, I've also mentioned it earlier in terms of when you have to like clean your data, but cleaning data basically means your data is dirty or untidy, or it cannot be used for the purpose you needed it for, as within the form that it is from the beginning, until you perform that data cleaning. And some of the cleaning you could perform actually includes, like I said, I was using example of a comma at the other time, and that could also, be in form of incorrect data type. It can also be in form of missing value. Sometimes, you have data, and then in some areas, say for example, you have in your account statement, I'm sure that probably all of us are used to seeing our account statement at the end of the month or occasionally as and when needed. So you get your account statement, for example, and let's say you want to like get a data, you want to kind of query data from your account statement to understand how your spending habits is. And then you get the data in PDF format from your bank app. And then you see on the debit side, it's only record the debit amount. The ones that are not debited that is on the credit side, you see that it's usually just dash under the debit. When it's on the debit side and it's not credit, the part which is debit, on the credit side, you just have the dash. In most cases like that, to be able to make use of your data, you might likely have to like, fill in the missing value with, a non figure, or probably just with a zero, so as to, be able to do your query and your research that you want to do out of the data. Sometimes you might have to duplicate entry. There is this general belief about duplicate entry that says that when a value is missing, or when some value is missing actually, and the value is not up to 30%, you might actually duplicate the most recurrent value of that data to the areas where data are missing or where there is no accurate data. Those are other things that we probably will talk about, but that is in more like an advanced level. And to get into those details of advanced level, we might not get there yet within this masterclass, but I'm sure for people that will be interested to actually understand data properly and to understand it on an advanced level, we can actually, there are some courses that are put together that are advanced classes for Excel and other data analytics class by Udemy Tech that I believe that we can find very, very useful, as we want to advance eventually. So as we go, missing values in data, duplicate entries, incorrect data types, most times that happens. Sometimes some data are meant to return in float, sometimes integer, and then the floats, by the way, and integer are basically figures, numerical figures. The difference between integer and float is that integer is a round number, like for example, 12, 15, 20, but float is usually in decimal. You have 10.001, 10.12, 12.34. That's what float is. That's the difference between the both. And the string most of the time is like in text format. So sometimes, you might even have the figures within your data, but it's not recorded as an integer or as a float that you can use to do some mathematical calculation. And then you have to first of all convert it into from text or from string into integer, or where you should be able to use it for the purpose at which you needed it for. Sometimes also outliers. Outliers are basically just, Can everyone hear me, please? I think I'm seeing some internet connection unstable. Can you confirm if I'm still audible? Okay, cool. So some outliers sometimes is like things that does not happen recurrently, things that are like that stands out within a set of data. And I'll give an example. Let's say, for example, we are 14 here in the house, right? In this call. And we are looking at how many male and female are within this call. And then within 14 of us, we found out that 7 of us are female, 6 of us are male, which is 13. And then 1 of us then turned out to be, for example, say an hermaphrodite. Now, that hermaphrodite is an outlier because it doesn't really belong to the popular category of distribution of the data within the data that we are trying to use. And it goes like that and like that and like that. The data cleaning also continues to data quality issues, and it's still part of the things that we've already talked about. This is just like a continuous form of it. And these are issues that are related to the quality of the data. When a data is dirty, like you've been saying, it's likely not going to be accurate because you can't really get what you want out of it. And some of the examples are incomplete data. And we mentioned it earlier where you might have to put some missing values within the data that are not complete. Sometimes if like 65% of your data is actually missing, or the specific data is missing, you might have to drop the whole column. It goes like that and like that. Data structural issues also part of the issues that you might encounter while you are trying to get information out of your data. And part of the things that happen here is, in some cases, in some cases, you have issues like multiple columns for just a single item. And I'll give an example here. Say, for example, we have a data that is basically on order of clothing. And then we have 4 different columns. One order ID, another column is sales item, another column is amount, and then say the last column is payment method. And then within these 4 columns, you have distinct columns. Then you now have another 5th column that also repeats order ID, for example. In that case, you've had multiple columns for just an item, and you might have to drop one of those columns so that you can continue what you want to do. Sometimes identical column, which is also like, related to things I've mentioned now. And sometimes also, you have multiple variables in just one column. And that multiple variable, for you to understand, I'll give a quick example. An example in this case, you have a column. Let's say, for example, in the clothing item, where we expect just a single variable, which, for example, we expect, say, it's shirt, polo, or trouser, or jean. Then in one or in a column, you don't have more than one variable in each of the rows. And then in one row of the column, you have jean, t-shirt, polo. Now you have more than one variable where you're supposed to have a single variable. You might have to do some of those things also to make sure that your data is going to be useful eventually. So now we'll move to data analysis. And I think some of these things has been said already in the page that we come from, and like I said earlier, is basically, the process of obtaining raw data and then converting it into useful information that you actually need. A whole lot of time, in short, all the companies is getting, to the high point now when every business is now aware that there is, a big value from understanding the past, business model to take future decision. And that's why you see that data are usually data from past events that you are trying to query, manipulate, research to get information based on what is the important thing that you want to get out of it. And that's what data analysis basically do, and it is important, to understand that raw data has to be gathered, like we have said before now, cleaned, and, all those things that we mentioned. Now, there are 4 main, process of data analysis. And one of them, the first one, is descriptive analysis, which is basically done to identify and describe things that have already happened. So, for example, you already have 2023 sales, and then you want to understand what went in within the sales so that you can be able to take future decision on how to strategize on the business. That is more like a descriptive analysis. A diagnostic analysis is done to understand why something happened. So within your data, for example, you've done the descriptive analysis, and then you want to do diagnostic analysis, and you want to understand why a specific kind of product is being returned very oftenly. Now, that is what they call diagnostic analysis. It's also taken from past data, but you want to understand the reason behind, particular action that keeps reoccurring, or just even if it's just one time, maybe it's something that is very strange, and then you just feel like, within the business model, it is it's understood that it should not actually be happening, and then we want to understand why it has happened, even in the one time that it has happened, so that we can, strategize on how to avoid making that happen as the business moves forward. Then predictive analysis, you usually find predictive analysis, where you are trying to identify, future trends, and it's still within the things that we've been saying. So the predictive analysis is you trying to, from a data that you are querying, understand what is likely going to happen in the future, and then, position for it, strategize for it, and then be making sure that you get the best out, of what is likely going to happen. Then the prescriptive analysis is done to make recommendation for the future. Everything is, still within the same status quo that we've been talking about. And I want you to understand something. The most important part of data is to be able to query it, manipulate it, get whatever you want to get out of it, to be able to take future decisions, to be able to avoid future occurrences, depending on what is the purpose at which the company is, going through a specific data analysis or data analytics journey with you. So sometimes, having a domain-specific knowledge could also help. And what domain-specific knowledge means is, say, for example, a bank, Access Bank in Nigeria, or any other bank in any other country, wants to engage a data analyst, yeah, and then within the data, there are some data that if one person has experience in field of banking, that domain knowledge can help in actually getting the best results out of the data. Not all the time, but in most cases, it's been proven to be an advantage. Data visualization, which we also mentioned, earlier. Data visualization basically is like representing a data, with the use of graphics, graphs generally, like I mentioned earlier, charts, plots, table, animation, anything at all that can help, the audience to be able to understand, a complex concept in a very simple way. That is, the basic and the primary, the primary purpose of data visualization. At this point, analysis and findings are usually communicated to the audience, in imagery form, because it is said that the human brain is wired to process visuals faster than text or spoken words. And that was why I was saying earlier that you should not necessarily bother yourself about the plenty text that is on the screen. Listen to me and also try to match what it is I'm saying to the image that you see on the screen. That way, you might likely get a better understanding of what we are trying to talk about. The data visualization still goes, from the beginning, no matter how much the work that has been put together, into the old data analysis, exploratory, exploration, and all of that, visualization always brings it out in a more simpler form to be able to communicate it to other stakeholders, other departments that might be the ones to use the information that is given to them to turn it into actionable strategies. Career option for data analysts. Well, career option for data analysts is plenty, vast. Like I said earlier, data analysts are are now sought after because businesses are beginning to understand that the ability to understand from past occurrences, which is put into data form, actually helps in taking future decisions, for a business. And that's why you can see data analysts, they are relevant in all industries that you can think of. And I'll quickly like to go through what is on my screen so that you can have a more in-depth understanding. Here it says data analysts work in many industries, ranging from healthcare to finance, e-commerce, retail, marketing, entertainment, and many, many more. Many data analysts have degrees in statistics, computer science, mathematics, or related fields. But this is not a strict necessity to get a job. As a matter of fact, I'll give you an example of myself. For the past decade, I've been in the entertainment industry. I've been a lighting designer. All the concerts that you see, all the Davido's concerts, Wizkid concerts, the Lashmada concerts, I am one of those guys that is behind, who is putting the triggers for all the lights that you see that run around to happen on stage. But I have passion for complex data, and I also want to bring solution to the world, because part of the key people that are bringing solution to the world as we speak today are data analysts. So I love to actually get to challenging tasks, try and solve problems and all of that. So I went into data science, which data analysis or analytics is still part of part of it. So here I am. I'm working with three companies currently intermittently. I'm with Ojemari Tech, I'm with Hybrid Credit in the UK, and I'm with Nextfin in Canada. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is it's not a compulsory thing that you have to have experience in statistics, or you have to have a course in statistics or computer science or mathematics, even though a lot of companies will require them, as part of the yardstick to actually get employment for a data analyst role. But it is changing, especially for remote jobs that are not exactly in Nigeria. You can come from myself. I read theater artist in my undergraduate level, and now I did, I'm into data, the data world now, and then I'm doing practically well, to be honest, and through professional schools such as Odumari Tech, you can actually, get your data professional certificate, which can be tenderable within any sphere of industry that you might want to go into. So basically, yeah, that is it. You can transition. You don't have to exactly have this background in statistics, computer science, whatever it is you have. As long as you know your onion very well, you are good at what you do, and you can communicate perfectly well, and you can give solutions to problems that businesses are finding challenging, you are likely going to get a very good shot. Now, on the data analytics side, are there any questions at all? Please, let's have it. Any questions?
No questions.
Should I take it as though there are no questions and we can move forward?
I think so.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. But why you do not have any question, I think I would like to ask one or two questions, basically. In the process of the journey that we've gone through from the beginning till now, is there anyone in the house that probably do not have an understanding of any part of the concept that has been discussed, so that we can quickly touch on it before we move forward? Anyone at all? Okay, that's fine. So we're going to go forward into introduction to Microsoft Excel. Now, the data analytics, data analysis, all the data thing that we've mentioned before now is like a prerequisite. Sorry?
I have a question, please.
Okay, please go for it.
Sorry, please. I'm a bit confused when it comes to data analysis and data science. Are they the same?
Okay, they are not the same. Before doing, as a data scientist, part of the skills you must have is a data analyst skills, because all the processes that we've talked about from the beginning up until this point is also very much applicable to a data scientist. The only thing is that data science goes further beyond data analysis, because all the predictive analysis, all the things we talk about, data science actually goes into machine learning, model building, dashboard development, and a couple of other things. So basically, data analysis is within the scope of data science. But data science is more like an advanced level of data analysis. But you cannot be a data scientist without being a data analyst. I think I need to put that across very importantly. I hope I've been able to answer your question. Hello.
Thank you so much. Yes, thanks.
All right. So just as a way forward from now, please, when you have any question that you would like to ask, before mentioning the question, let us know your name and let us know, at least let us know your name so that we can get carried along all together, I hope that is fine. Is there any other question as we move forward? At the count of 3. All right, good. So yeah, introduction to Microsoft Excel. Now, this is the real deal. I would like to quickly ask us, and I'll go back to the Slido thingy, to ask if any one of us actually have any background in Microsoft Excel before now, and what is our purpose, to actually enroll for this masterclass. Just one moment. We're going to do this for just 5 minutes before we move forward. All right, someone said to be a data analyst. I believe that has to be a data analyst. So please scan the QR code. Let's quickly get active on this so that we have an idea of what are even the different purposes of everybody that are within the class today. What is your purpose for enrolling for this Excel masterclass? To be a data analyst, like someone has said, to probably have an in-depth understanding, to have more knowledge, to probably get promotion work, whatever it is, please let's have it. We have just 2 to 3 minutes to do that. Let's participate so that we can have a good idea of our intentions. Three more minutes. I want to learn how to use Excel better for work purposes. That's very good. To be a data scientist analyst, that's very good. To dive into the data world and be able to apply data science into the civil engineering field, also a very good intention. To have more knowledge on Excel, okay, very good intention also. Okay, someone else also says to be a data analyst. Okay, all of these reasons and all of these purposes are very valid purpose, while why it is important to actually have an Excel knowledge. Okay, so Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet editor developed by Microsoft. It features calculation or computation capabilities, graphing tools, and it is used to organize numbers and data in general. As such, it is used for data entry, which is like the primary use for primary use of Excel. People usually use it for data entry, like all some of the things that we've talked about, charting, which is part of the graph thing we talk about to visualize, results, to be able to like present to stakeholders, to audiences and all of that. Calculation works, mathematical calculations, to be able to do pluses and minuses, front and back, a whole lot of things. Report making, among other functions, which is also, within the presentation exploration. Microsoft Excel can be used in many departments in the workplace, such as accounting, human resources, customer service, planning, marketing, and many more. As far as I'm concerned, if you ask me, Microsoft Excel can be used in all, for as long as there is an existing department, Microsoft Excel can be used within that department. Why data analysts need Microsoft Excel? For a couple of reasons, but I'll read so that we can understand better. Microsoft Excel allows data analysts to perform fast analysis and summarize data into tables and or charts within a few clicks. To be honest, this is just like one of the things you can actually use Microsoft Excel to do. It allows users to import and work with data from sources such as databases, like you said earlier, while we were coming. There are different advantages, many advantages of Microsoft Excel, and one of them is the fact that it is widely used. It is a widely used software by both data professionals and non-data professionals. As such, virtually anybody in an organization is familiar with it, making it easy for data analysts to share files and collaborate with others. That's one. Then two, versatility. And when we talk about versatility, basically, we're talking about the ability to be able to use Microsoft Excel at every processes, every steps of data analysis. It can be used for data entry, cleaning, analysis, visualization, report making, and so on and so forth. Another good advantage of Microsoft Excel is it is very affordable than many of other software options that you can see out there. And that's why, it's a go-to for most individuals and small businesses who can or who are not willing to put that big budget, on other softwares that could do the same thing that Microsoft Excel could do. And even big companies are using it, individuals, it's small businesses, and that's why it's more widespread than many other software you'll see out there. There are 5 main data types in Microsoft Excel, which are number, text, datetime, logical data, and error data. Now, numbers basically are figures, whether big or small, and that was the explanation I was giving earlier about an integer or a float. It has to be in figures. These are the things you use in mathematical calculation most of the time, as against text that you can usually just do some addition and subtraction. But for numbers, it goes way beyond that. Datetime basically means date and time. So you can have information that are datetime based. For example, you have a data that talks about the dates that we are actually having the Excel masterclass. And then within the data, we have the dates that the masterclass is happening, which is April 8th. Then we have another column, which is the student, participant. We also have another column, which is, say, for example, purposes, like that and like that. The date part of the time data is what is referred to as date time. So it can be in form of dates or time, or date and time together. Logical data is basically just true or false. When we are finishing up today, we are going to do some quizzes, and then we'll see some of these true or false, quizzes, and then you could understand what logical data means. Basically, it's just saying, okay, you're testing, say, for example, you are testing an hypothesis that says, do participant likes to take Excel Masterclass? Yes or no? Now, that's data, that question is referring to a logical data that says either yes or no. And this yes or no is going to be gathered at the end of the day. Summarize them, for example, say 50 participants today, 30 people say yes, 20 people say no. The 30 people that says yes means this. That is going to be used for a decision. 20 people that says no means this. That is also going to be used for a decision, business decision making. Error data are type that is used to store error values, which are in different types, in Excel. Name error, division error, reference error, numeric error, and like that, and like that. Now we are going to be doing something. We are here within the basic Excel function, and just pardon me to be able to do this. I'm just going to be like juggling from one to the other. So we are going to do something. We ourselves are going to formulate a data, and then we are going to be using that data to we're going to be using those functions, to query the data. I believe we still have enough time to do that. So let's start from here. Can all of us type our name within the chat box, that we are using? Our names, let's quickly do that. Jael Obi, thank you. Let's keep it coming, because these are the things that we're going to be using today to form the data, and then we're going to be querying it so that we can have a better understanding. Good. Let's keep it going. Good. All right. So while we do that, I would like someone to give us a suggestion of what type of data should we actually put together. Should we do a salary data, of Ojamari Tech, or should we do a supply chain data, or should we do anything at all? Just give us a suggestion so that we put this together, and then we can have a better understanding of, how all of this works. Thank you for bringing in all the names. Yeah, we are going to be using them very shortly. So someone give us a subject matter. Salary data, okay. Someone, please, let's have it. Supply chain, someone says supply chain. Salary data, okay. So salary data, okay. So that means salary data has actually won the vote. So we are going to start by saying, just let's do it quickly. Okay, Ojamari Tech salary data. Now, in a salary data, can anyone give us a suggestion of some of the kind of data that we should find in the salary data? You can type it in the chat box, also. Name, thank you, name. So you are going to be having a name title, a name column. All right, thank you. Someone say account number, okay. Account number, I think account number might be too cumbersome. Let's look out for some, okay. Someone say basic pay, okay. Position, all right. We have name, we have basic pay, position, salary amount, office. Okay, so we are just going to do 3 columns, all right? We're going to be doing just 3 columns, basically. All right, so name, let's do position 2. position, and then can we have another suggestion? Let's have, or instead of position, okay, let's have position, then let's have salary, which is the amount itself, right? Salary. I think position might actually not give us repetition because we need some repetition to be able to understand some of the things we want to do. Let's change the position to department, for example. Department. All right. So department, for example, okay. So now we are going to be using some of the names that we mentioned earlier. All right. Let's do from the start. Okay, let's do Jael Obi. Jael Obi. Then let's also do, let's add Mirabel and Rebecca together as one name. Mirabel, Rebecca. Mirabel, Rebecca. All right. Okay, we've done Rebecca. Let's do Callistos and Eniola together. So we'll do Eniola, Callistos together. Let's look at two other names. Let's do Emmanuel Adebayo together. Let's do Emmanuel Adebayo together. Emmanuel Ade. Let's leave it at Ade. Let's do Patrick and Jamil together. Patrick, Jamil. Let's also let's have like we have just 5 yet. Let's add 3 more. Let's do Patrick and Sam together. I'm sorry, Sam and Dorcas together. Sam, Dorcas. Then Olowu and Michael together. Olowu, Michael. Okay, and then let's do one more. Semitayo and, okay, let's just do Semitayo. Semitayo. Semitayo Bride. Semitayo. Sorry. Semitayo Bride. Okay. All right. Now let's give suggestions of the various departments that we could have, you know, within Edumare Tech, Odumare Tech. Just suggestion, let suggestion keep coming in. We are the one we are going to put this data together, like I said. So the different departments, let the suggestions start coming in place. HR, okay, so human resources. Human resources. Human resources. Operations, thank you. Operations. Operations. Customer service. Customer service. Okay, let's say sales too, for example, sales. Then logistics. Logistics. Let's say another person is also in sales again. Sales. Then let's have, okay, we've done finance. Let's have operation. Operation. Then let's have, okay, operations. We have operation first. Okay, that's cool. So let's, for the last one, let's have, okay, let's say administrative. Administrative. All right. as we go, let's start giving salary suggestions. Salary suggestions. Let's go for it. Let's suggestions, salary suggestions. Let's start doing that. All right. 100,000. Thank you. Say for HR 100,000. All right. For say 60,000. Thank you. 60,000. Then another person 150,000. All right. 200,000. Thank you. 280,000. Keep it coming. 80,000. Another one. I think we have how many to go? 3 more to go. 120,000. 120,000. Okay. And 150 again. 150, 1, 2, 3. And then 350. Thank you. Now, so we are going to start now. In Excel, actually, you can use comma, but in some other what's it called? Software, you can't use comma, but let's do the comma for clarity because most salary come in that format, to be honest. Okay, so let's do comma real quick. Real quick. All right, cool. So now we'll start with the first basic function. All right. The first one says len. Len basically, is used to count the total number of character in a text. The function, every function basically in Excel actually counts space, as a character. And we'll do a quick example now. Let's try len, for example, So let's say here we want to, the basic thing with Excel is that whatever it is you want to do, especially when it comes to functions, it usually starts with equals. So if you press equals, for example, and then you press L, you see it's bringing all of the different possible functions that are, that have L. So say, for example, that we do length, all right? Okay, so now you can see there is a text within it, which suggests that there has to be a text that you want to cover, or the text that you want to calculate what is you want to calculate the length. So now let's use, for example, this is Jael Obi, right? Now, the parenthesis is already opened. If I select on this, it automatically adds it to the length. So if I click enter, the next thing you'll see is 8. 8 means it calculates the length of Jael Obi because that's the cell that I reference, within the cell. All right. So, and if you count manually, you can see J1, A2, E3, L4. The space is also a character, like we said. That is 5, O6, B7, and I8. Now, we can extend this same formula for the rest of them, and then you see automatically it comes down, which means that each of these, text within this cell actually gives you this number. All right. If you want to say, for example, let's quickly do something, not to even bother you, just let's leave that so that it doesn't get complicated. But on a basic format, that is what you get when you're trying to use the length function. So let's do Z so that we can go back to the next one and then try it out. Now, the next one is count. The count function basically gives you the total number of cells in a range that contains number. All right. Now, there's a little bit tweak to this, but we get there eventually. So let's quickly do count, just the same way we did the first one too. Let's press our equal sign, yeah, and then type count. Now we see the count here, we can then, enter it. All right. Now you can see that it asks you that you should add the value of the count that you want. So now if you select this, let's say for example, you select this self, for example, all right, the only thing that you're going to get is a count of 1 because we only selected just a range of 1 cell. Let's enter it and see what we are talking about. You see, we have 1, all right? Now, let's go back and then select different range. So we do our equals count, all right? Then enter. And then let's select a range from here. The end of it. If you enter now, it's going to calculate the range of the cells that you added together. And if you count them manually, you see that we have from 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right. So that's what you get basically when it comes to count. You can use it to count a range of different cells, So basically, that's that. If let's say, for example, you don't want to select all the range, you want to select just up to, sorry. Okay, let's just make it fast. So now you can see that the range is already been mentioned, C4. It means you are on C, you started from C4 to C11. Ideally, what I'm trying to do with my cursor, I don't know what that is happening, but ideally you can just edit it that instead of it to get to C11, it should get to C10, and then it will give you the range. It means it counts from here to here, basically. So let's quickly do our Control Z and then move forward to the next one. Count A. Now, I'll show you something, the difference between count and count A, all right? Now, let's quickly do our count again, our count, right? And then let's select A4 and then enter. All right, it's 0, right? Let's also try and select from A4. Let's from A4. Sorry. Okay, let's say we choose from A5 to A11 and then still enter. It's still giving us 0. Don't forget that when we were counting the numbers, we don't get 0. We did not get 0. The only reason why we are getting 0 now is because this range that we are counting here is in text, not in figure. So the best way you can count the range of text is actually if you are using the count A function instead of the count function. So we can enter the count A. Now let's select our range. If we enter now, we can see that we have 8 as against the way it was when we were counting just with count. So count A counts both the, what's it called? Both figures, text, string, whatever, you still get the count. Let's try count A for the figure area also. So we do equals count A. Yeah, then we give it a range from the beginning to the end and then enter. Can you see we still get 8? It still counts it. Let's try something. let's assume that this cell here, there is nothing there, or we have 0 there, for example. When we have 0 there, for example, and then we still do our count A, we still count all those cells together because there is something in there already. Enter 8. Now let's try something real quick. Say, for example, there is nothing in that cell, and then we try our count A, we do figure count A, and then enter, and then we pick the cell, and then we enter. Can you see that we have 7? The reason why it doesn't count that is because that's empty. But if there were to be anything at all within the cell, it will still have counted it. So which means that count A is more versatile than just count in general. So let's quickly go back to the next function. Count blank. Okay. So what count blank does is, we'll do something now. What count blank does, let's say here, let's remove this. Okay, let's remove this too. Or instead of removing, let's try something real quick. All right, let's assume that we have another column that says email of each of the staff. All right, so let's have the email here. Sorry, someone is saying something. Is there a question as we move forward? So let's say, for example, we have an email here, and then we have a@gmail.com. Then the second one we do not have. The second one we have b@outlook.com. Please, if you do not have any question and you do not want to say anything, kindly put your mic in mute so that whatever it is you're doing or you're saying on the background does not interrupt with what we are all trying to get out of this. Thank you very much as you do that. So we have b@outlook.com, here too. Let's say here we have c@yahoo.com, for example. And then we have d@outlook.com. And then here we have g@gmail.com. Sorry, do you want to ask a question? I can hear some voices. Okay. So now we want to check. Okay, can Tech help us to mute everybody, and then I can unmute myself so that that noise coming will not keep interfering to what we are doing. Thank you as you do that. All right, so we want to check the count blank function. What this function does is to give a total number of empty cells in range. And we are going to try that now. So now let's assume that Tech wanted to know how many of the employees, do not have their email in record. And because of that, we want to know that anytime we send out an email, especially in terms of urgency or emergency, some people just don't tend to turn up. So we want to know how many people do not have their email within the database so that we can know how to reach out to them and ensure that they add their email, to the database so that whenever it is that we want to send out any information via email, they will always get it. So what we do basically in that regard is just the same way we do our our functions, count blank, enter, all right? And then the range, you can see that it has already bring the parameters that is supposed to be added to it. The range that you want to calculate. So let's say we pick from this to here, and then we enter. You can see that the range of count blank is 3. And if you look at it automatically too, you'll see that that range, if you count it manually, you can see that it's just 3 blocks, 3 cells that actually do not have any information within them. So that's what the count blank function does. The sum is one of the very, very sweet one, very common one that people use generally. And as any data analyst, all of this function that we're talking about, it is very important that you get to understand and know how they work. Sum is very popular, if not the most popular amongst all of them. And what we can do is the same way we've been doing, we type our equal sign, then look for the sum, all right? Calculate the sum, you enter the sum. Now, number 1, if you look at this area, it's showing that number 1, there are other, we can also add more number. So let's say, for example, we want to check the sum of this first and second salary, which is 100,000 plus 60,000. Then you enter, you can see 160,000, all right? Say, for example, we want to check the range for, let's just put here sum. Let's put here sum. All right. So let's say we want to calculate the sum of all the total sum of all the salary that is being paid out every month on monthly basis. And then we do our equal sign sum. And then when you enter, you then pick your range from the beginning to the end, and then you enter. That is 1.210. So let's do that. Let's do that here 40. Instead. Sorry? Is there a question that someone is willing to ask? All right. Please, if you are not speaking and you do not have a question, kindly put your mic on mute, please. So like we were saying, equals sum, all right? And then sum from the first to the end. And then that gives us the total number of the amounts that we have from the first, salary to the last one. And then we have the sum in front, all right? So let's look at the next one. The next one is average. Yes. Can we please, let me see if I can mute everyone on the call. Okay. I'm not sure I'm able to do that, but can someone confirm for us if the noise that we are having on the background is not disturbing what we are doing?
Good. On the back. 15.
It's not disturbing, right? Can someone confirm if the noise is disturbing, please?
Yeah, not exactly.
Not exactly. Oh, okay. That's good to know. All right. So as we go forward, all right, as we move forward,
Coach, 13.
oh, sorry, I'm trying to get this out of my out of my way. I was able to do that before, but not now exactly.
How are you, sir?
I will do one business now.
Yeah.
I just can't tell you.
Yeah.
That plastic, that black plastic, second,
Yeah.
this one says 75.
Okay,
Yeah.
we are back
This
here.
one, now,
All right, so
now 50, now 45, you tell her, when you sell her, you get 5,000 profit.
Wait now. Wait.
Now 45,000, you
Wait.
sell and give me 75.
Now these are 45. This number one.
I
Which
hold-
bag? Wait not now. This bag, it is two type. Pick one day. That one way that boku day. In cheap prices. But if I dey
all right, hopefully that doesn't happen again. So sorry for that interruption. So where were we? We were okay, we've already done the sum. So let's try the average also. Let's try the average now. So here we are. We want to do the average like the same way we've been doing. Click our equal sign and try to type out the average. There are different, different ones. Then you pick the one that you want. The way the count A works also is similar to the way the average A also works. But just not to waste our time, we're just going to go on the average just the same way. Now that we have the average, we pick the range of the average we want to calculate. Say, for example, we just want to calculate from the first salary to the fourth salary, and then we enter. Then this is the average. Let's quickly title that. So this would be the average of the four, all right? But say, for example, we want to do average for more than 4. Okay, so if we want to do from A to the top, then we do the same thing, and then we pick it from the top down. If we add the sum to it, it's going to give us the average of all of them together. But because the sum is not part of what we want to do, let's say we do it from the top to the last salary earner, it's going to give us the average. So at least we have the understanding of the average amount that is being paid out every month on monthly basis. All right. So let's do the next one. I think from here we could like move forward, and then we can have just 1 or 2 tryouts in our own time. So the next one here is the power. The power is a little bit, how do I put it? It's a little bit tricky. So if you want to check raised to power anything, all right, so let's just have that cell here. Let's have the power cell here. All right, cool. Now, you have to set the power that you actually want to put. Let's set our 2. Let's say we want to use an average of 2. All right. Or let's use another cell. Okay. So let's say we want to use 2. So for the power. Now, the same way we always do, all right, we come to the power area, equals power, then we enter, all right. Now, if you look, you see that it first of all asks you for the number that you want to have the power with. Let's assume that we want to do 60, then we select 60 as the number. Now we need to add the next parameter, which is then the power. Then you then set the power into 2, and then press your F4. sorry. And then press your F4 and then enter. If you multiply 60,000 by 60,000, this should actually be the result that you are going to get. All right. So let's try another number. For example, instead of 60,000, let's change this number here to 10 so that it makes more sense to us. Let's change it to 10. All right. So let's say you want to do the power of 10 raised to power 2, which is 10 multiplied by 10. We'll do the same thing we've always done. Enter. Look at the parameters that you're supposed to add, the argument you're supposed to put there. You first of all ask for number. So you select the number that you want to use, add your comma, and then the power that you want to, put on it. It's usually advisable to do the press your F4 so that at least it could help you to lock in, the formula, and then you enter. You can see it is 100. Now, as this is, if I drag this upward, let's say, okay, let's quickly add another cell so that at least you could see what I'm trying to show you. All right, let's do, let's say, for example, percentage. Just for example, all right, let's say percentage. All right, and then we have and then on the percentage, we have 10 here, we have 6 here, we have 5 here, we have 12 here, we have 3 here, we have 4 here, we have 7 here, we have 8 here, and then say, okay, we're already done with our salary, right? Okay, so let's perform the same thing that we did the other time. Now, on the power area, so let's clear out this one real quick. All right, so now we are still going to do the same thing. The number, we are going to pick the number. All right. Okay, this might not exactly work for what I want to show you. Let's put the power here. So we do power. Okay, let's do it here so that you could see what I'm trying to show you. Equals power. Okay, so we put the number here. We do R2, the parameter, the power, we do 2, and then we lock it in F4, and then we enter. You can see it's 100. Now, if we drag that same formula down to all the ranges, we are going to get the raised to power 2 of all of the cells that we have. And if you look at it, you can see that 10 by 10, 10 times 10 is 100, 6 times 6 is 36, 12 times 12 is 144, and so on and so forth. So let's quickly move forward to the next one. Replace, okay. So let's do the replace one, just like we've been doing before now. Let's go back a little bit. All right, let's just have another cell that says replace, all right? So now the way the replace works here, we'll also see the argument, but let's start like we used to. Replace, then you enter. Now you can see that there are more arguments for the replace than the other. You see old text, which you want to replace something, so there has to be something that you want to replace. So old text, let's say the old text is, let's replace, okay, customer service, for example, Okay, let's leave it as sales, or let's do customer service. All right. Now, the next argument is supposed to be starting number. So you put your comma, and what number do you want to start from? So it means that if you do 3, so C is number 1 here, U is number 2, S is number 3. It will start from S if you put 3. If you put 4, it will start from T. So wherever it is that you want to start it from, let's say in this case, you want to start from 4, which is supposed to be the T. All right. Then our next argument is the number character. So we want to replace how many from these numbers, So if you want to replace 4 of them, then it means we're replacing TOME. So we put 4. Say, for example, we want to replace how many? 1. Let's say we want to change it to costumier, for example. So it means we are replacing from 4 to UMIER and then the space. All right. So let's say we do 6. And then your next argument will then be the text you want to replace with what you want to change. So now I want to change from customer to costumier, right? So it's then going to be CUMEMIER, and then you then enter. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Let's try something. 1, 2, 3. Once we replace 6, CUMIER. That's supposed to be 6. Let's try this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's what we get, because the part where we are trying to replace, all right? And okay, because we are using replace is the reason. Replace is basically just for figures. So let's try and do the replace A. Let's try. Replace characters within a text string with another different text string. Oh, okay. So the first one we were doing as actually for. So let's do this. Let's do the replace B so that we could try out what we were doing before. So still the same thing. Sumia, and then you're not supposed to be having a name error. The formula contains unrecognized text. That's strange. Old text, start number, which is this. Okay, this is byte number, not like the other one. So this is going to take a little bit of time. Let's just do the 1, 2, 3, 4 for the figures, as that is what replace does, basically just figures. You are able to replace figures, So yeah, that is that. Then the next one will be concatenate. Okay, so all of these are just like the same thing that we've been trying to do, to be honest. Sorry. Okay. They're just the same thing we've been trying to do. And because of time, I'll just say, let's also try this on our own. And if you have any questions that we want to ask, we can come back. And maybe before we start our next class tomorrow, we can then quickly treat them as we go. But some of all those other basic functions include the concatenate. Concatenate, you basically use it to merge several texts, basically several texts, that probably have space or whatever. You merge them together into one. Upper is like just to convert to the uppercase, lower to convert to the lowercase, left, to change, to extract, an information from the left side of things, basically. From the left side of things, then the right from the right side. The now, is to give you the current date and time, that you are. Today is also, for the current date, and then the time is only for the time. Don't forget, there are difference between the noun today and time. Noun gives you both the date and time, the current date and time. Today gives you just the current date. Time gives you just the current time. And day, month, and year returns the day, month, or a given year in a date. Then the dated if is a function that is used to calculate the difference between two dates. Just the same processes, but there are some basic things I would like us to look at before we move forward in our Excel sheets. All right. Okay, so I'm trying to get this out of the way like before. Okay, this is not. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this pop-up out of the way. Let's try the chat. Okay, can we please get this slide PDF? I think there's a recording of that, and I think that's also possible. So I'll confirm and get back to you on that. So now we're back here. Now there are some few things that you might want to try out first. All right. There are times when some of the formulas you're looking for, you're not able to find them even while you're typing. If they are not, say for example, they are not common formulas. Basically what you do is this fx here is like for function, and most of the time you can see some common formulas. So if the formulas you're looking for is not there, you can just basically just search either for all related things or whatever it is, or you can enter the name of the formula and then you can search for it. All right. Another way you can also do that. Can I please get slides through my email because I'm currently not using WhatsApp? All right. I'm sure that we'll get back to you on that. So, like I was saying, you can just go to the formula area. Yeah. You see the different types of formula that you can actually get, different types of function. So if you're looking for any type, for example, you can just look at the sum area, which is the most popular one. And if you can't find it, what I showed to you now, you can also do that to check the formula and then go further. There are much more functions beyond these basic ones that we've talked about today. And like I said again, they are like on a very much advanced level that you can actually, get to understand and, polish your skill better, and, help you to be able to get whatever it is that is the purpose for which you want to understand Excel. And those are like packages that you can find within some advanced courses that are based on Excel that are packaged together, under Udemy Tech. You can actually get, I think those courses are actually for just token, the advanced paid ones. They are just for token, basically. So aside that, if there's any other question, I think it's best that we start bringing them up now before we move forward and leave the Excel functions behind. Is there any question at all that anyone would like to ask? Okay, Roma, that's taking note of. Any question in the house before we move to the next step? I would take that to be a no. Can we move forward?
Sorry, I have a question, please.
All right.
You used the F4 function, and I think it was to lock the. So it's
to lock. I wouldn't know if you are able to try the cell references. I think I will explain better to you why the F4 function is more important. But basically what you use the F4 function to do is to lock that your formula so that when you drag, because there's something Excel does. How can I show you this example? I'm not sure the data we have is likely going to be able to do that, but there's something Excel does here. let's do just the way we did before for this. Let me show you something. Hopefully, and if that doesn't work, then maybe when we move to the cell reference, it will. Now, you remember when we were doing the power thingy, all right? Now, when you lock with F4, it means that you are saying that the particular formula that you use should be applied to the rest. Let's quickly try something, all right? Let's try that, okay, percentage, let's say 100, which is a total percentage, all right? Total percentage. Okay, so now I think we'll do this when we move to the cell references, but basically it's just to lock, all right? So don't let me get too confused. We'll do this that I'm trying to do here when we get to the cell referencing. But yeah, it's to lock your formula so that Excel doesn't automatically give you the perceived formula that it thinks you want to put across within the range of data that you have, instead of giving you the exact formula that you're supposed to actually, putting across. I hope that makes sense. Does that answer your question?
Yes, to an extent.
All right, cool. So let's move forward. Okay, so cell references. Now, cell reference basically refers to, a range of cells within a worksheet, which, you can actually perform different formulas with. All right, you can use cell reference to refer to data from a worksheet, or from another worksheet, or the same. It goes like that. I'm sure that we understand what cell is, and just to check if you do not understand, cell is actually these things that you're looking at. The highlighted area that is on the screen now is a cell. All right, that's a cell. Now these are two cells. All right, now these are 11 cells. These are cells. These are cells. So you can reference cells in different ways. I hope that is clear. If there's any question on that before we move forward, let's bring it forward so that we can trash it before we go forward. So basically, what cell referencing does, all right, let me just bring this up, is that it helps you to reference different cells. Then there are different types of cell referencing. There is a relative reference, there is absolute reference, and also there is mixed reference. All right. So the relative reference, what it does is that it helps you to be able to, reference a relative from a particular location of cells that is involved. So which means that when you copy a cell or a kind of a logic within a cell across to another cell, it changes, that cell changes. It doesn't stay the same. All right. It changes from one to the other based on whatever formula, whatever function, whatever it is that you're referencing. So according to what is stated here, it says this is the reference that is relative to the location of the cells involved. When copied across multiple cells, the reference changes based on the relative position of rows and columns. All cell references are relative references by default, which means that once you reference one cell, automatically it changes to another cell, all right? The absolute reference is a type of reference that does not change when you copied it. When you copy it across multiple cells, it remains the same. And that is what, we just spoke about now, especially when it comes to how the formula works. So if you reference a formula from a particular cell or a particular a set of cells, and then you move it to another set of cells, whatever formula, whatever logic that you have within those cells is not going to change. It's going to remain intact, all right? So this is useful when one do not want the cell reference to change while filling cells, sorry. An absolute reference is designated in a formula by adding a $sign in front of the column and row. And if you remember, when I was doing the F4 thing, anytime I press on the F4, it adds a $sign, before the particular that particular power that we're trying to do earlier on. And if you do the same thing as we go, it's still the same thing that will happen. It helps you lock it. Then the mixed reference is a combination of relative and absolute references. It's useful when one wants to either wants the column or the row reference to change while filling the cells. in a mixed reference, the stagnant part has a dollar sign in front of it, while the other part does not. So we'll try out something. I hope we stay have enough time quickly, so that we probably will have an understanding of what we're talking about. All right. So let's try out something. Let's open another sheet. All right. Then just the same way we did the other time, we are going to also like populate a data that can be helpful for our course. Okay. So in this one, let's do a month for the relative reference. Let's do a monthly kind of data for the salary that we already started. Okay. Let's do that. So let's say, for example, here, let's say we have month. Don't worry, whichever point we are able to get to, we can then go and try the remaining at home. And if there's any question, we'll address them before tomorrow morning. So let's just say this is month. Then this is, say, income. And then we have expenses here. We have expenses here. All right. Now, let's have different months. It's F4, yeah, thank you, F4. So let's have different data, you know. Let's say this is January, just quickly. Let's say this is January, February, March, April, May, and then let's stop at June. All right. And then let's say the income here is 20. Let's say this is 10,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, and then 60,000. All right. And then let's say the expenses are, just give me a random figure of the expense of expenses that is not exactly as much as the what's it called, the income. So any expenses that will be here should not be as much as the income. Let's quickly do that. Random figures. Okay. So 5. Thank you. Let's keep it coming. Sorry. Let's keep it coming. So 5. See another one. So 12, 8. Thank you. 7,000. Let's say 7,000. 15, 7. Thank you. 15, 7. Let's say 15 again. Let's keep it coming. Then 25,000. All right. 25,000. Okay. Now, we want to thank you. So now what we want to do here is we want to get the net income. All right. Let's say we want to get the net income. Let's say we want to get the net income. Now, how do you get the net income? The net income is going to be income minus expenses, right? Income minus expenses. So in this case, what we are going to do now is that we are going to do the same, equals thing that we usually do, all right? And then we are going to pick the total income. Total income is on column B, right? On row 3. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. Total income is on column B on row 3. And so that makes it B3. Okay. That makes it B3. B3 minus, all right, expenses is on row, on column C, same on row 3, all right? So that's going to be what? C3. Now, if we enter that, you can see that it gives us 7,500. Now, the 7,500 now is based on the calculation that we've done here, the B3 minus C3, all right? Now, if we drag that down up until this point, we get equivalent of the same formula that we've performed, which is, if you look at this, you see that this is then B4 minus C4, B5. So that's what you call relative referencing, which means that as it gets to the point where you are referencing it, it changes. It doesn't give you the same thing, all right? I hope that is understandable. Does anyone, by chance, not understand what I'm trying to say here? Anybody at all before we move forward? Okay, so I'll take it that we all understood what we just explained. All right. So now this is what is called relative referencing, which means that as we are referencing this particular cell in this other cell, it changes to what is applicable to this cell. As we reference the same cell, the formula here in this other cell, it changes to what is applicable to the formula that we've added, all right? So that's that for relative referencing. So let's quickly do for absolute referencing. I think we still have enough time to do that real quick. So let's do based on the same salary thing that we are talking about. And this will explain what the other guy asked of the other time when it comes to the F4 thingy, all right? So now in the absolute, let's say, for example, we want to use, we want to know the percentage, of salary of Odumare Tech staff as we have been doing from the start. So here, say for example, name or the performance. Okay, let's do the performance of the staff. You get. So let's do that. The total performance actually is put on 100%. All right, that's what we are going to do. That the total performance is put on 100%. So we are going to do. Let's start from here. We're going to do name, and then we'll do performance. Performance, all right? And then we'll do performance. Then as we do that, let's say the maximum percentage that anyone can get out of the performance is actually 100. So we put just as we did the other time, let's Jael, Mirabel, Exla. Let's see if we can put that back here. So let's just delete this one. Okay, so now we have Jael, Mirabel. Let's separate it. Okay, cool. All right. So we have Jael, Mirabel, all right. And then we have 100 as the highest level of performance. So let's put the percentage here. The percentage here. Okay. So what we are going to do now is we are going to do write a formula, all right, that suggests what we want to do, and then we'll see how that is applicable. So we then do our normal equals, all right? That's what we do. So we do our normal equal sign. Then what? Okay, let's give these percentages. Let's leave that for now. So the performance, the performances of, say, Jael gets 65% out of 100. Mirabel gets 78% out of 100. 78 out of 100, and then Eniola gets, say, 85. Then Emmanuel gets, say, 90. Patrick gets, say, 55. Dorcas gets, say, 48, right? Olo gets, say, 76, and then Temita gets 66. All right. So already, so now I want to calculate the percentage of each of these performances over 100%. So now, if we do our normal calculation and say equals to, this is like we said before, this is under column B, row 5. All right. So that would then be the 100 is B row 4. So that would be B4 divided by, all right, divided by B5, all right, B5. No, something's wrong. It shouldn't be. Sorry. Let's. So we'll try equals to B4 divided by B4 over, no, okay, sorry. That shouldn't be division, actually. 4/B4. Yeah, B4 B5. Okay. Let's try something. Let's look for percentile. All right. So now we are not trying to do with array. Something's wrong somewhere. Just one moment. So let's do.
Sorry, can I say something?
So let's do 100 divided by. Sorry?
Can I say something? Can I suggest something?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, to calculate the percentage here would be 65 over the maximum, which is 100 times 100.
Yeah, right. Thank you for that. So that would then be 65 is B5, all right? B5 over B4 multiplied by 100. That should be it. All right, thank you for that. Okay, so that's the calculation. Now, if we put this across, you can see now that the formula that we have here is actually not giving us what we are supposed to be having. because this is more like a relative referencing. For us to be able to get the absolute referencing here, then we will have to like lock in the formula that is paramount amongst all of this formula. All right. So what we then do is go back. All right. Look at the formula. Which of this formula is actually very important that we are able to log? We know that 100 is actually, stagnant. So we'll lock the 100 with F4. So B5 over B4, then F4, log the B4, which is the 65 here, then times 100. That should give us what we want. Let's try times 100, then 65 now. Let's bring it down. And let's see, can we see the difference between the two now? So this is absolute referencing, which means that you are looking up the absolute formula or the absolute cell that you want to be repeated in all other cell ranges, so that the same formula actually is applied to it, and then it doesn't change the figure. I hope that this is clear. Does anyone have a question at all? Any question?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. So because of time, you might not be able to populate or populate data for the mixed referencing for tonight's lecture. So what we are going to do is I'm going to leave it to you to go and try it out on your own. And then if there's any question as we come tomorrow, then we're going to come back to it, and then we'll solve it before we go into tomorrow's class. Is that good?
Yes.
All right. So before we go, I would like us to quickly try something, on the Slido also to just okay. So we'll do the scanning thing again, and then do a little bit of quiz before we finish. The quiz should not take more than 10 minutes, and then answer questions based on the quiz, So can we quickly just join, and then we'll do a quiz to make sure that we understand what we've gone through today, and then we'll see how many people are getting it right. Can we all join? If you're having a challenge by joining, just let me know so that at least we'll find a way to.
Sorry, what are we joining?
Scan the QR code on my screen, join, then we can all participate in the quiz. If you're having challenge, scanning the QR code, I think I can also send you a link on our WhatsApp group, and then you can use that to join. I've just sent the link to our WhatsApp group. So if you're not able to use the QR code, please quickly join. Let's also let's test what we've gathered tonight and see that at least know how many people are following, and wherever it is that you might have challenges and some of the things that you might need to address. Okay, I think we can also do that from here. You can just join at slido.com. All right. And then enter this code if you're not able to use, and enter this code. This code will actually give you access to it. We only have one person who have joined. Are we having any challenge joining? Hello, are we together?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, we can't see the code.
Oh, I've already sent the code to the Excel Masterclass on WhatsApp group. I've also sent the code to, I've sent the link to WhatsApp and I've sent the code to our chat here. Just open your chat box and then, use the code. The code is also on my screen. If you can see my screen is #1109513. It will give you access to it. Okay. So I'll just put it here again. 1109513. This is the code. You can just click on the link also. That will redirect you to the page. We only have Adebayo. Are we still having any challenge? Or should we make this the first thing tomorrow morning? I mean, tomorrow evening before we go into our tomorrow class? Okay, we should make it tomorrow, right? Is that what Patrick is saying? Or maybe we should even test what Adebayo actually gets out of it, since the only one who is able to join. Adebayo, are you ready?
Think so, yeah.
Okay, so let's do it.
Okay.
All right, so it's counting down. All right, so the timing is going fast. 15 seconds in some cases.
Yeah, I've joined, but I can't find anything.
Yeah, the quiz had already started. Can you see my screen?
The network was so slow from my side, so it has ended. Please, can we start again?
Yeah, don't worry, just answer the next one as it goes.
Okay.
Hello, please, I can't see your screen.
Oh, okay. That's a challenge. So let's restart. Just 1 minute. We're already out of time, but let's quickly restart. I'll stop my screen now and then reshare again. Can you confirm if you can see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll restart the quiz now.
Yeah.
And then we go for it.
All right.
All right, the quiz has started again. What is the main purpose of data cleaning in the data analytic process? Okay, good. Next one.
Next one. Can go to the next. Oh, sorry.
Didn't catch up on that. Next one.
Yeah, it was low, yeah.
Okay. Okay, aligning has joined. Okay. Didn't catch up on that. Okay. Arabella's joined, so. Okay.
Put back. From here, now, please. Into it and see. Eat it and see now.
Okay, so overall results. We have Jael, Oluwatosin, Mirabel Alayinka, and Adedayo join the quiz. So let's look at the overall results. Oh, I think I made a mistake to take it away real quick. Oh, that's so painful. Oh, but I have the result here. I wish you could all see it. 6% votes And then Adebayo actually got 7 out of it. And then leaderboard. Okay. I'm trying to look for the leaderboard. It's not found here. Okay, let's do it this way. I would really love you to say it. All right, so let's just Olayinka got 6 over 7. Adebayo got 5. Mirabel got 3. Oluwatosin got 1. Jael got 1. I think they came in late, so hopefully tomorrow we'll be ready, and then it will be much more easier, because I'm guessing that this is like a new thing to many of us already, you know. So yeah, that's that. Just for the final thoughts, there's one more thing that I would like us to do, just 1 minute, and then we'll be over. We'll go home. And that would be just the rating poll. It'd be nice for us to just rate what is our overall experience. How would you rate your learning experience into this class? 1 means not, not at all interesting, and then 5 means very, very interesting. 3, okay. Can we keep going? Okay, 4. Can we keep going? We have 3 persons participated. All right, I think we only have 3 people in house now. Okay, 5, okay, 4. So this is just from 4 persons to, I wish that we have more people to actually come in, but at least we have a 4-star rating out of 5 that, that has the 75%. So please, as we go tonight, drop your feedback on WhatsApp, so that at least we could know where we can actually improve as we go tomorrow till the following day, until Friday. It's a very good, it's my pleasure to have everyone here, and I am happy that we all are here. As we go back tonight, please, some of the functions that we are not able to touch today, please try and touch them, and then come back with your question tomorrow. Enjoy your night and have a very good sleep. Bye.